What you're about to watch is a clip from my BrandLytics training where I get together with entrepreneurs, thought leaders who want to build their brand using YouTube and making data-driven decisions to blow up their brand this year. Enjoy. Video analytics is on an individual video level. How well are we doing? What data do I look at? What are the important things to pay attention to? So the impressions and click-through rate are super important. You can get lost in data on individual videos, but this is one of the most important things to pay attention to. So if you go to your channel, you click on analytics on the side, and then you look at the impressions you get on the videos. I usually like going 90 days again. So it's what's most relevant right now, what's popping. And then we're looking at our click-through rate. That's what this means here, impression click-through rate. And people, when they ask me, what's a good click-through rate? It's a logical question to ask, but it's not a great question because click-through rate is relative. So here's what happens. If you have a really high click-through rate on your video and the video is doing well, it's got good retention on your video, YouTube's going to recommend it to more people who don't know who we are, which is good. That's a great thing to have happen. But the more YouTube recommends our videos to people who don't know us, our click-through rate's going to drop because it's more and more of a colder audience. So if your video comes out, if Ash finally launches a new video, tapping solution, it's going to be great. We're all going to cheer and celebrate. So when that video comes out, chances are, the people these 113,000 subscribers who follow Tapping Solution, her channel, are probably going to really like the video. They're like, oh my God, a new video, this is great. And if that video starts doing well, it's now going to reach out to more and more people who have never heard of the tapping solution, who don't even know what tapping is. And that's the ultimate goal, because our goal is not just to talk to people who already know who we are. Our goal is to talk to people who have no idea who we are. And that's the power of YouTube. But as we start branching out, if Ashley is making a video on tapping, if it's going to tapping people, they're going to have a high click-through rate, right? They know what it is. They like it. If it's going to people who have no idea what tapping is, the click-through rate's going to drop. So a low click-through rate is not necessarily a bad thing if it's reaching a broad audience. So a good click-through rate is relative to how many impressions you're getting on the video. It's relative to how your other videos are doing. So, for example, if I see a video that has a 12% click-through rate, that's actually not good. It's not good because it means YouTube's not recommending your video to enough new people. You're only talking to your current audience. That means there's probably something wrong with the video itself. You did a great job on your thumbnail and title to get people to click, but the video itself kind of sucks. Nobody's actually watching it, so YouTube doesn't want to recommend it to more people. So this is why this graph is so important. Whenever I'm looking at doing split testing on my channel and looking at other people's channels as well, if you sort by how many impressions you have, so these are all different videos with different impressions, then you can look at the relative click-through rate. So the channel average for those 90 days was 4%. And then these are the ones that I want to fix, like 2%, 2.1, 2.6, 2.8. So anything in the twos on here. Now, if my number one video was 2%, I'm not worried about that. But if this video has 160,000 impressions, look at these two videos, 160,000, 161 million. I can't read. 161 million impressions on this video, 156 million impressions on this. Pretty close, right? Almost the same. What's 5 million impressions? They're pretty close here at the top. 5% click-through rate, 2% click-through rate. So this video got double the views, more than double the views of this video off the same number of impressions. So this thumbnail has to be fixed. This thumbnail title combination has to be fixed. And so that's what you do. You keep looking in different impression bands and you start to see, if I'm looking at, if I look into 40,000 here, so 42 to 48, the best one here is 3.3%. These ones are underperforming. So I want to go in and fix all of these ones. Why it's so important is, even just looking at these two as an example, YouTube is recommending the videos to people. It's giving us impressions. people aren't clicking. So there's a problem with how we're presenting our video. YouTube thinks our video is good. That's why we're getting the impressions. But people aren't clicking, so our cover sucks. Right? And this isn't a subjective, like, I worked so hard on that thumbnail. How could people not like it? Okay, well, they don't like it. Fix it. It's not being, I like making data-driven decisions. So even though there's been thumbnails that I just pour my heart and soul into, or titles that I just feel are just epic and amazing. I'm so proud of myself. And then, 2.1% click-through. Okay, perfect. That one sucked. Let's go next. And keep testing, keep trying. But this gives you direction on a per video level, where to go and start making changes and updates. And this is why YouTube is so powerful, is that you can go back and fix this stuff. Where Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, you're not going back and updating. This video might be 8 years old. I could still go back and update. Ramsey Media's got his hand up. You got something quick?
Hey, Evan, can you just provide a little more context for us about earlier you said if your /1 video is in the high 2s, you're not worried about it. And given what you're saying about the other stuff, I'm like, but why? Why wouldn't you still want to raise that click-through rate?
I'm not worried about it because it's reaching a big, wide audience. So if you're doing your hypnosis videos and you're talking to hypnosis people, they're gonna love it. But if you're reaching, say your video shows up against my audience, a bunch of entrepreneurs. Most people are probably familiar with the term hypnosis, but maybe haven't watched the video or don't know how it works. So if you're branching out, like the fact that these numbers are close means that this one has to be fixed. But if this one, often the #1 video might have, way higher. So in this world, maybe it has 1 billion impressions compared to 161. It doesn't mean that you can't go back and continue to try to improve it. I keep working on my top videos as well to try to make them better. But it just means that it's not a bad number. I would expect the top video on your channel to have the lowest click-through rate. It's very typical. So this one just massively overperformed here at the 5%. It's very rare to have, I got to look at what this video is, because it's very rare to have your #1 video be better than your channel average. This would be, if we remove this first one, this would be what I would expect. 2.1, 2.6, 3.5, 3.7, 3.54, and then we start getting the higher numbers as we start to go down. If you have a giant gap between #1 and #2, or #1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like if you look at your own data and pull it up, don't freak out if your #1 video is 2%. It means it's reaching a new audience, so it's good. It doesn't mean that you still can't improve it, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad click-through rate. Oh my God, why does this one suck so much? The next thing that we look at is audience retention at 1 minute. So on a per video basis, this is another thing that I'm obsessed over. So every video, we've gone through this and shared some examples. We've done channel breakdowns, but if you're looking at how to fix your individual videos, it's a combination of the click-through rate, which is title and thumbnail, and then also the retention. How much are people actually sticking? So if you had a 12% click-through rate video, I'm expecting this curve to look really bad. The 1 minute retention is probably going to be really poor. You didn't keep people. So what I'm obsessed over is trying to hit the 70% at 1 minute. That's virtually impossible to do consistently, but it's a high mark. So you want to be, a good starting point is 50% at 1 minute, and then working our way up. 60% is a really good number. 70% is insane, gold standard. Try to hit that. And when you're looking at your curve, this basically just shows where people are falling off. So, this first, this is a 13-minute video. So this part sucks, and then it goes up. So especially when you see it go up like that, wow, this part really sucks. We should cut that. For future videos, don't do that stuff again. And then it's okay. And then there's this, slow curve. This is what we want it to look like. These peaks here, this is what we cut for Instagram and Twitter. These are the highest engagement moments. So we're cutting that out, free social content. And this is what I'm still doing now, guys. I mean, I'm helping Brendon Burchard launch 3 YouTube channels around his Growth Day product. So we joint ventured on them. And every week, my team is pulling together a list of clips based off of this. So when the curve goes up, Brendon, here's the clips for social media for this week. And then his team cuts them together, from here to here. So for this video, I'd probably go, this is a short little Instagram reel here. And then from here to here is an Instagram video or TikTok video, right? And so the data just shows us what people are liking. So it tells us how to fix our videos, right? This really sucks. Don't do that again. The ending sucks as well. Look how many people we lost at the end. Don't do that again. Flat lines are great. Slow curves are good. And any increases we're cutting for social. And also looking, what happened? Did I say something great? Did a cat walk in the background? Like what happened that made people really want to watch this part? And then try to do more of that. So on a per video basis, click-through rate, and then 1 minute audience retention, we really pay a lot of attention to. If you want to see this full video as well as train live with me twice a month to blow up your brand, join the BrandLytics training program. There's a link to join right there next to me. Continue to believe. I'll see you there.